Okay, I'm back with another, I won't say it's a tips video, it's more of an informational video. What this video is pretty much about, let me put it on, I'm using the Dodgers and the Phillies, is pretty much the threshold, um, to give you a better understanding where the threshold either begins or ends for each particular type player. Now, I don't know how many people have seen their videos, their stream videos before the game was released. They had that PCI letting you know between a weak and an average and a strong power hitter. Well, this is pretty much letting you know as far as the threshold between where you know where this player is and where that player is. For some people, or for most people, probably, you probably know, what your hitter can hit, especially if you already use zone. But for people who don't use zone and don't use if they use directional or uses pure analog, this is an understanding to give you a better understanding of how to maybe, you want to use your particular hitter. Give or take, particularly in directional, because analog is pretty much, um, it's not much really you can really do differently. You know, only differently I can say is probably like, um, maybe you can, switch it and use a more of a power hit, and you can try, power swing, or maybe use a contact swing. But when you're using pure analog, most people wouldn't use it. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it using it. Neither one of them. Maybe against a computer you can use power swing because your PCI is bigger, but other than that, I don't see a benefit in using that. So pretty much I'm gonna go into my gameplay real quick. Let you know right now, more like I said, I was using pure analog. Lately I haven't used the directional, but I'm gonna put it on zone to just give you an understanding what you're looking for as far as your threshold is concerned. So Cesar Hernandez, who is the batter, let me hold this down so I don't get pitched on. Cesar Hernandez is about a 44, 45. I'm not really sure exactly, but he's around the mid to high 40s as far as his power is concerned. His contact, of course, is like in the 80s and 90s. When he bats right against lefties and righties, he's a switch hitter. So, and his power is about the same for both. I know when you're online, it's kind of different, the ratings, but for the most part, it's the same. So, what you try to do? Hold up, let me take off this. Take off this as well. The hot zones. Oop, oop. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so you see he quick pitched me. Great. It's okay. So if you can see, he has a little bar at the bottom that lets you know that he's a weak power hitter, because sorry about that, my mic messed up. That's the indicator that lets you know that he's not a good power hitter. You can see it a little bit better here. In fact, you can see it if I put it down. You can definitely see it. You can definitely see it if I put it down here. Backdrops is different, so it'll look different to each backdrop. So that means he's not really good at hitting home runs or anything like that. He's really a below average power hitter. Oh, nice walk. So now you go to a dual. Now a dual is about anywhere between 50 and 50s, or mid I say about mid to high 50s, or anywhere between 50 to like 57 or 56. He's not a switch hitter. He has a good contact against both. I think he's above 70. I know for both. I think he's about 80 on in Diamond Dynasty. So he's a really good contact hitter, but his power is over 50, so it's a little bit above Cesar's, but it's not that high. And if you can take a look at his PCI, it's pretty much the same. There's no balance one way or the other. It's pretty much the same all the way around. I guess you could say it has a little bit of a balance underneath, I guess. It lets you know he's kind of has a little bar underneath, which is kind of odd. And I noticed that he has a bar. They gave him a bar underneath. I don't know what his ratings is on here. You can't check the ratings in practice, but usually when I usually use him, he has a probably just won't get that. He has a circle around the whole thing. He doesn't have his PCI circle is usually half, like the outline of it is usually fully like lit, so it lets you know that he's usually a balance hitter, which is usually somebody who's a weak hitter. Now this is Carlos Santana. Now he's going against a lefty, and that's probably the reason why Odubel was PCI was down. So against lefties, Odubel doesn't have as much as power as he does against righties. So that was probably the reason why his PCI was a lot lower and looked a lot like Cesar's. But usually his PCI is different. Matter of fact, I'll set it up so I can show you what I'm talking about. It's better, easier, way easier for me to show you than just put it on repeat so nothing goes. Yeah, okay. So you can see now he has a PCI. His PCI is like loaded. So he, like I said, his power against righties is usually somewhere in the 50s, not that high. It's like mid to high 50s. That's horrible. And never, so that's a check swing all the way. But yeah, as you can see, his PCI is more rounded because he's going to draw. So when he's going against a lefty, is everything else. So this is really this is the part I was trying to say that's like really informational, and the reason why I'm doing this video. So all right, say you're playing the game, whether it's a computer or whether it's online against an opponent. You're got a player up like Odubel who's going against righty. Let's say he's going against right-handed batter for most of the game. So he's going against a right-handed batter, and you're thinking like trying to drive the ball somewhere, and you might get one in a sweet spot and be able to maybe pull the ball and knock it out of the park. He has good enough power against righties to do that. So if you look at his ratings, it is a difference, but I don't think it's that much difference when it comes to his power. So they're bringing a lefty. So now you realize that now he's like really bad and like weak now. He's like a weak hitter. So you can't think about driving a ball out of the park with him, or anywhere for that matter. You could possibly get it in the gaps, but if anything, your approach should totally change. You should look like to try to use him as if he's like, like a D Gordon or even a Cesar Hernandez. I mean, you have to use him totally different. Like you can't come to the plate with the same approach or try to use the same thing. Maybe even try to use the contact swing if that's something that you're used to using or you have some success with. But just trying to like think you're going to be able to hammer away with the normal swing is not going to really work, especially if you're going against a team with a really good pitcher. Like I had Clayton Kershaw up earlier, so he had a lefty and he's like, you know, one of the best pitchers in the game, if not the best pitcher in the game. So, you know, if you're using directional, you're gonna have to switch it up and just do something differently as far as like how to approach that, and then, you know, just letting you know that you can't just like think that, you know, oh well, you know, I can do the same thing. Like I can use the same type of method or technique that I was using earlier, and I'm gonna get the same results, or expecting to get the same results if you like put a good swing down and you make good contact, and the ball and the PCI was right, like right in the middle. Don't expect it to be the same thing, because you know his ratings and his PCI, even though you don't see it and even though you can't move it, it's pretty much horrible. It's like really bad. But when, you know, like that right there, that's a good pitch. Well, that wasn't a great pitch. It was right down the middle, but that was a good hit, and that was something that he was going to be able to do. Now, if I switch it and put Clayton in, or anybody for that matter, that's a lefty, but I'm just going to leave Clayton in. Now that PCI is like ridiculously, like he's not going to be able to do anything like that. Wow, that just went like totally against everything I just said. Oh no, it's not. That's his zone. I'm sorry. It doesn't go against anything I said. That's just zone being zone. That's ridiculous though. It's just zone being zone. Zone always gets the bonuses. But yeah, you know, you're not gonna be able to usually draw the ball out or do anything like that. Now good pitchers like that. But I'm using zone right now. If I would have switched that, if that would have been directional, that would not have happened. That would have went somewhere else. But I just want to give you an idea of what the PCI look like and the difference, and then how you guys might have to change your approach and everything else. So we're just gonna go to another hitter and go to, what's the next hitter? Go to Santana. Santana is a good one. Like Santana. Now here's the thing about Santana. He's a switch hitter. He has no contact whatsoever. I use him even in Diamond Dynasty, so I know a lot about what he can do. He's not really good at contact at all, but he has good vision. I think his vision's like in like the low 70s, and you know, he has power, particularly when he's going against a right-handed pitcher. Now he's going against a left-handed pitcher right now, but because he still has good vision and not as much power, his PCI becomes more of a balanced look. So it's not like one way or the other. It's like real balance. Now his ratings in this PCI is that I think his contact against lefties is around 60 and or low 60s, and his power is around mid to low 50s if I'm not mistaken. So you see Cesar, like I said, he's 42, 35. He has really bad power and anything else. So he's not a real power guy. But of course, you know, anybody who's used directional understands that, you know, you can still hit a home run with him. You know, you just got to square it up. It has to be, I won't say pretty perfect, but it has to just be in one of those sweet spots. And of course, you got to have good timing and just get a good swing on it. And yeah, you can definitely drive it out of the park. But he's just not known as a real big power hitter, and you know, he's gonna have more of a contact, small, you know, line drives or grounders or stuff like that. So you know, that's letting you know what type of hitter he is. Doable is, like I said, he's a balanced guy. So actually, it's 40. So it's like 45, I should say. So if you're 45 or higher, so it's like 45 to about 55, or maybe higher than that. But if you're like 45 to about, I would say maybe 60, you're considered a weak. You're considered about an average hitter, average power hitter. So the cutoff is 45 and up, and then if you're 45 and down, you're considered a weak hitter. So if you're like 44 or lower, then you're considered a weak hitter. I was off by a little bit, and obviously against lefties, he's 36 power, so he's horrible. So he's definitely a weak hitter. And then here's Santana. And he has 51 power and he has 66 contact. So he's in that balance range. So he has the balance range because he has 51 power. So he's not a weak hitter. He becomes like an average hitter against lefties when it comes to power and stuff like that. And his contact is lower against righties anyway. So he's definitely straight power, more a really, really big time power guy. So yeah. So he's one of those guys that you can definitely have to pay attention to a situation and what's going on. I like how when guys try to make him spin around because they see that he's a 51 against lefty, so they'll put a lefty in there in the game, and I'll just like drill a double down somewhere, or if they throw it down the middle thinking that he's not going to do anything with it, he'll just take it out of the park. It's just like, because he still has power based off of the PCI and based off the ratings, he still has decent power. If you give him something, he will drive it somewhere. He just doesn't have that, really, really above, more of a slugger type power when he's righty. He's like 72. It's like when he's rolling, he's good. Especially if he got like his inside edges up, he can be a terror. It could be his rating could be like up to 80 or something as far as his power is concerned. So against righty, so he can definitely be a power jump. But even though you see that 51, you have to understand that he's listed as a average power hitter. So there you go with him. And of course, Hoskins is power. All right, so this is Nick Williams. He's listed at a 58 power, so he has average power against righty, and he has 48, so he's average against lefty. So he's just an average either way. So you don't really lose anything or gain anything. You can pretty much just try to make good contact, line it up, make a good swing, and just take wherever it gets. He'll get you a base hit on the ground. He can give you a base hit. He can drive the ball maybe in the gaps, and sometimes if he squares it up, he can hit it out of the park. I've hit a couple home runs with him when I used this card. So I know he has the ability to hit it out of the park. Franco is a guy who's, like I said, he's a power guy. So like I said, when I was using him in practice mode, his 59 power, look at that contact, it's like incredible, 53, 49. But his 59 power makes him about an average hitter against righties. So pretty much if you're 6, so it's now 60, so it's about 60. So if you're 60 or higher, you're considered a power hitter. I thought it was like 65, but it's definitely 60 maybe. So if you're like 60, then you're definitely a power. So it's like 60 or higher, if I'm not mistaken. I can't prove it, but I'm pretty sure it's like 60 or higher. I gotta write this stuff down. Maybe do another video to show y'all exactly what's the numbers are. But the range is definitely, the ranges is pretty much definitely is it. So it's 44 and down. You are considered a weak hitter, or at least a weak power hitter. But I'm gonna say just a weak hitter, because I don't think it has anything to do with power. Just you're a weak hitter. You're so 45 to about 59, you're considered an average hitter, and you have decent power. And then when you get into the 60s, I want to say mid 60s, but I could be wrong, and it could just be 60. When you get into being about, I want to say 65, but you get around that 60s range, then you're definitely a power hitter. No matter how low your contact is, no matter everything else, you're still considered a power hitter. So that's just right there. Just another quick thing before I wrap this up. I do not understand why don't really kind of like let people know what's going on as far as the hit mechanics are concerned. Um, I have heard just a little bit from a couple people who don't like the new update because it's still not making any sense. Look, you said good timing is good timing, and that just because you hit good timing doesn't mean that the ball is just going to go straight up the middle. So if you have lined up a ball and you swing the ball and you have good timing, the ball can still go to left field, right field. It can go different ways. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. But then you said that if you're late and if you're early, those are foul balls. And although I see late and early foul balls, I see a lot of late and early hits. And I mean, not just dribblers, I mean like big hits. I'm talking about home runs, I'm talking about doubles, down the line, stuff like that. You said that's not in the game, and I don't understand why it is in the game still. And the just late and the just early one, like you said, that those are capable of being hits as well, but they're not going to be as consistent as maybe it has been in the past. That's understandable and that's cool. But if you're saying that late and early, swing times is going to be foul balls, but in the game that we're playing for about was June, so let's say for about 2.5 months, almost 3 months, and you're giving up hits and costing people games, I just feel like that's just wrong. I just feel like that you need to improve that somehow, some way. So anybody who watches this video who knows people, you should like let them know that, you said that this wasn't going to happen and it's happening. I mean, I think the game is fine. The hitting is not as good as it needs to be. Um, I don't know why it's not. I just think that plays a part into it. You know, if every interface is based off of the hit, yeah, I mean, all based off of your swing time and your timing, then you want to see the results because frustration builds in, and that's not good. You don't want people to be frustrated playing a game. You want people to be frustrated if they mess up or if they make a mistake or if they can't get something right, but not get frustrated because they don't understand the logic of what you told them supposed to work or supposed to be doesn't be. So I'm gonna leave it on that, and I'll holler at y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next one. I might be doing an analog one. I've been using analog a lot, so we'll see. There's not really much to really say about that hit interface, but it is something. So hopefully this will help y'all out. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.